Hey y'all. Okay, I've got quite a few topics to talk about in this video, so it's not going to be a specific video to any topic. It's going to be kind of like jumping around between these different things. So first, I want to talk a little bit about spirit dolls. Okay. This is one of the main types of magic that I practiced personally. One of the main types of magic that I specialize in is making spirit dolls. And I want to, in this video, clarify what exactly does that mean and the differences between the types of dolls that there are. So I'm going to start off by showing you some dolls that I currently have just on hand here. This right here is what is called a spirit doll. Okay? It's completely made by me. See her face? This is a spirit doll of goddess Hecate. Okay? So, she has different faces. Hecate is a triple goddess, so this doll has 3 faces. There's one of her faces if you want to be using the doll for like aggressive magic. You're going to want to use that face. If you're going to be using the doll for like innocent, white magic or whatever, protective magic, you're going to want to use this face. And this is just a face of power. And the head moves. You can turn it to the different heads facing forward or whatever. I mean, this is the only type of Hecate doll there can be, but this is the one that I personally made. So, there you go. And she's wearing a silver dress. You know, all these different things associated with Hecate. There's the key. Her necklace is the key with the pinnacle because Hecate is the goddess of magic. And she's the keeper of the mysteries, which the key signifies that. So with a spirit doll, or a god or goddess doll, you're going to want to make the doll with symbols and associations to that deity. So for instance, this doll to Hecate is filled up with herbs that are sacred to Hecate, as well as crystals and stones that are sacred to Hecate. And then of course the outer clothes and jewelry and the symbols on her head are all symbolic and representative of Hecate, the horned moon. Okay? So, a spirit doll is made as a house or a vessel for a spirit or a deity to inhabit, and their energy and essence will bind in to that doll to bring the influence of that deity to the doll and to the area and to the person that's going to be using it. So that is what a spirit doll is for. And of course you can use it when it's, to keep with the example with the one to Hecate, that doll will, whoever buys that from me on my Etsy shop, which the link to that is in my channel, on the cover photo up there you'll see the little E, and that is a link to my Etsy shop where I will be selling that Hecate doll. Now whoever buys that that doll is going to bring Hecate's influence into their home or wherever they have the doll. It's going to bring Hecate's power, her presence, and her influence there in a strong physical way. Different from how when you just pray to a deity, when you're actually bringing that deity's presence and with a vessel like a doll into your home or into your area physically. It's different. Okay, so the next type of doll I want to talk about is, this is just what's called a spirit doll also, but it's not to a deity or to a god or goddess. It's just a spirit doll that will hold a spiritual energy, not necessarily a conscious being, but a spiritual energy. However, those energies can be programmed to have a type of consciousness that does a specific thing. So for instance, with this one, This is a love drawing doll, and it's made with rose quartz crystal, which is good for love, actual seashell, which is representative of the water element and how that rules emotion and love, and then like a little heart and stuff, and then the traditional colors: yellow, pink, the feathers, which represent the speed of how it's going to draw love to you. Now, this one, when someone buys it, is when I will really specialize it into what their needs are. So it can draw exactly what they're trying to find with love to them. And also at the time of purchase, I will also then possess it with a spirit, so that that spirit can then do what it needs to do. And I will attach here under the dress, you can see the body. This is a very simple doll. It doesn't have to be finely detailed like this with like a real human form and all that. You can make it as crude or detailed as you want. So when someone buys this doll from me, I will attach a mojo bag or a gree bag or a charm bag. There's different names for this type of pouch, where you will put in, or I will put in, herbs and stones and like a piece of paper with a specific person's name and what they want and what the spirit is supposed to do. It will all be in there, tied to the doll, and then it will become part of the doll's form and body that the spirit will then possess with those instructions of what it's supposed to be doing. So that is a spirit doll. Okay, now we have this type of doll. Okay, and any of these can be made with any of these materials, but just the example is what these dolls are. This one is called a poppet, and this is different from a spirit doll. Spirit doll and a poppet are not the same. They're similar, but they're different. So a poppet is made of a specific person. So this doll, actually this one will not be for sale on my Etsy because someone's already bought it. This doll here was actually personally made as a puppet of a specific person, and that is the person who bought it. So don't worry, y'all, it's not a voodoo doll meant to cause harm to someone else. This is actually representative of the person who bought it. So to bring specific influences that she wanted to her, that she can then use this doll to physically bring those influences to her life. And with all these dolls, you're going to want to do the herbs that are associated with the intent and the goal. And with the spirit dolls and the poppet, you're going to have to make use of what is called an object link to the person you're making it for. So for example, you can put their blood or something that they've touched. You can put some part of their body, like hair, fingernail clippings, something that their saliva touched. Some people even use, I've never done this, but some people even use, like when they blew their nose, they get the tissue and they use that. Anything that has the person's DNA in it, really, is going to be what links that doll to the person. And you just include that inside the doll. Sexual fluids, even, people will use that. Menstrual blood. I mean, some people use some of these things like that. But to me, the DNA is in every part of your body. So I will usually choose to use just like saliva or hair or fingernail clippings. You can also use things that person touched, because there's a law in magic called the Law of Contagion. And it's just like the laws of science, only it has to do with the metaphysical realms. And it's called the Law of Contagion, which states that anything that a person touches, their energy is then permanently attached to that object. So you don't necessarily have to use a part of their body. You can just use something that they've touched or some object that they like a piece of jewelry that they've worn a lot, or even if it was just something they touched just one time, like a receipt or something like that, you can use that and just stick it inside the doll and then sew it up with the herbs and everything else that you're putting in there to represent and to focus the energy on that desire or goal. Now, once again, a poppet is used to affect a specific person, okay? But when it comes to the spirit dolls, those are used to bring a spiritual influence to an area or to a person who is utilizing that doll. So that's the difference that a lot of people don't realize or understand, the difference of poppets and spirit dolls. And I just wanted to clarify that in this video so that you could understand the difference between those and better choose what type of doll you're going to be using, and just know what type of doll you want to use, or that you're seeing. If you're seeing like a doll, someone's offering you a doll or whatever, you will know the difference based on that. Now, yeah, that's all I really wanted to say about spirit dolls as far as the differences between the different types. Now, I do want to also say, a lot of people keep asking me, how do you make a doll possessed by a spirit? How do you make it even have a spiritual energy to where it will do what you want? And it's a process called bringing the doll to life or possessing it. Now, how you do that? Once again, if it's of a person, you just need an object link, really, because it's already going to contain that person's essence with it. And you just put that in the doll through the whole process of making it. Once again, watch my previous video called The Witch's Pyramid, and that will describe to you exactly what needs to be going on in your mind when you're doing a ritual, any type of ritual. And you're going to apply those same techniques to making a spirit doll or a poppet. You take the physical objects that you're using that represent your goal, fill the doll with it. If it's a cloth doll, you fill the doll with it. If it's like a stick doll, really you just need to attach the objects onto it, or make a mojo bag that you will then tie onto the doll, and it will become part of its form. Anyways, you fill it up with the materials that you need to represent the goal. And then you also include the object links, which really you can use one or many, whatever you feel is best. So there's that. If you do not have an object link to the person, you can use a different form of object link, which is actually called a tag lock. And this is where you will just write the person's full name on a piece of parchment or piece of paper, as well as their birth date. As long as you have those two things, you do not necessarily need a physical object that they touch or that's part of their body, as far as the fingernails and hair or whatever else you're using. Then you can just use the tag lock, where you just write their name and their birth date on there. So it's very important to include this in the doll. If you do not do that, that doll will probably not even affect the person that you're trying to affect. So, and of course you can use those dolls for harm or for good, just depending. Like, there's traditions that use them for cursing and for hurting and harming someone. But you can also use them for healing someone or for bringing someone success. So it just depends on what you want to use it for. But that is how you do it. And anyways, once again, when it comes to the poppets, you don't really have to possess it, because you're using already the object that's linked to that person. You still need to employ the witch's pyramid, though, where you visualize that person. And what you're going to do when you do that, what really makes it work is, for instance, with the girl that I made this for, when I possessed it of the energy, I did not have an object linked to her, so I used a tag lock where I wrote her name and birth date on the parchment, along with the influences that she wants. And employing it with the visualization skills, you view this You view the doll as the person. So you don't just view it as connected to the person. You actually have to view it as the person and imprint that from your mind onto the physical object. So, which requires like a full ritual to do, which I'm not going to tell you how to do the ritual, because really you need to do it in whatever way that really gets your mind and your subconscious focused on it. Like I said in one of my previous videos, the subconscious mind is where all the power is, because that's where your creativity is, to create new things. And with a spirit doll, you're creating something. So you need to tap into the subconscious power. And whatever ritual or technique works for you is going to be the one that you want to use for you. So just as long as you employ the witch's pyramid in whatever ritual you're doing, it will work. So that's basically how you do a poppet. Now, of course, I should add, if you're binding someone, say, for instance, you will then take the doll and tie it the fuck up, like you bind the doll because you're viewing the doll. That's them. And it's not just viewing it, but you really have to believe that this is the person or whatever. Sorry if you're watching. I don't mean to use your doll as the example, but it's just the only one I have on hand for that. Obviously your doll's not for binding. But anyways, and then when it comes to possessing a spirit doll, not a puppet, but a spirit doll with a goddess or a spirit, you're going to use the physical herbs and stuff that is representative of or is sacred to that deity or spirit. So, and then you're going to fill that all on the doll or whatever, or tie it to it once again if it's a stick doll, or if it's a cloth doll, you'll either be putting it in the doll if it's cloth, or tied to it if it's a stick doll, or whatever else you're using, where it can't go inside. And you're going to use the objects that are sacred to that spirit or deity. And then to possess that with the spirit or energy, you're going to have to perform an evocation, which just means that you summon the presence of that god or goddess to your ritual area, and then you tell it to go into the doll. And you don't want to do this in like a commanding way, like you're threatening it or whatever, because if it's a goddess or a spirit, they're just going to be like, who the fuck is this person trying to tell me what to do, and they'll just leave and they won't do it. But it's more like you're drawing them politely and asking them to go into the doll. Now, how to keep the spirit there, because a lot of people don't know that you can't just make a spirit doll and then it just works forever, okay? You have to keep the spirit in it. That's different from poppets. When you have a poppet, the object link or the tag lock is in it or part of it, and it will be permanent until you disempower it, because that the essence of the person is in it already, physically, because of that. But when it comes to a spirit doll, you have to keep the spirit there, or the god or goddess there, and to do that you need to tend to the doll, because this doll is acting as a house or a vessel for the spirit. And if you don't treat it right, if you don't maintain it and acknowledge even that the spirit is in there, which means talking to it, giving it loving energy, if it's a goddess or a god that you really want with you, then you're going to want to hold the doll and love on the doll as though it is the god or goddess, because it is when it's possessed. It is the god or goddess. That is the body that you've given the god or goddess to use. So you're going to want to treat it like it's the god or goddess. And that means giving it a place of prominence in your home, not just having it in a drawer or in a closet or something like that. You're going to want to put it in a place of prominence, maybe on the god or goddess's altar, on the spirit's altar, if it's an ancestor or something, because you can make spirit dolls of dead people, y'all. You can make a spirit doll with the soul of someone who has passed away, And that's like a new body for them to inhabit during the time that you have the doll. And you're going to want to tend to it, give it offerings. It's very important that you do this, or the spirit will leave and that doll will have no more power. So you're going to, and it won't do the influences that you want. So you're going to want to feed it, give it offerings of liquids, drinks, and also of foods, especially if it's a doll of a god or goddess. You're going to want to give it the drinks and the foods that are sacred and traditionally used as offerings to that deity or spirit. And if it's a doll of an ancestor, give it things that you know that person liked while they were alive, you know, like the foods and drinks that were the favorite. Give it that, because it's really going to keep it happily inhabiting that vessel. Because these spirits and gods and goddesses, y'all, they live in a realm that's not physical, where they can just go and do whatever they want and not have to worry about having a physical body anymore. So they're not limited. But but if you want to keep the spirit living there, I want to say hi to Vesta real quick. She was scratching on me. Look, Vesta. Say hi. She's so cute. But anyways, if y'all want to keep the spirit in the doll, then you need to treat the vessel like it is the spirit and really respect it and love on it, talk to it. That's another main way to keep it to doing exactly what you want and to bring in the influences that you want. Talk to it. Whereas if you did not have the use of a spirit doll, you would just pray to a god or goddess. Instead of doing that now, because you have that god or goddess's energy present in the doll, you'll just talk to the doll in the same way and tell it what you want, tell it what to do. But once again, not in a demanding way, but in the way like as if you are praying. Like, just talk to it and tell it what you want and ask it, and just be very respectful and loving towards the doll. And you're going to want to keep doing this regularly. Don't just do it once or twice and then stop. Or don't do it like so long apart from before. Like, you don't want to be waiting a month in between the times that you're doing this. It's really kind of like a daily thing. You just keep talking to it. Just imagine if you had someone living with you. Would you just ignore that person for extended periods of time and then just expect that they're going to be all helpful towards you or not? No, they're not going to be. But if you had someone living with you and you talk to them daily and all this, then the relationship's going to be there. It's going to be established and everything. So it's the same when you have a spirit and a doll. You're going to want to treat it and act towards it as though you're creating a relationship with it. And that's what's going to keep the spirit in there. You also want to use oils that are targeted towards your goal. And this applies more to the spirit dolls that are not containing a god or a goddess, and not a poppet that has a person, but just like a spirit doll with a spiritual energy that is focused in on a goal. You're going to want to use oils that are also aligned to that same goal and anoint it. This is called feeding it also. And anoint that doll regularly with those oils. And that's also going to help keep the spirit in there, y'all. Use oils that are a lot established to the goal, and use offerings and herbs offerings and incense offerings and candles offerings that are all aligned to the same goal that you're trying to get the doll to do. So that's basically all I think I'm going to do in this video about the dolls. I might do more videos about dolls, especially if you guys ask questions that I did not cover in this one. I will tell you all what I know about that, of course. But I do want to add one more thing. When it comes to dolls where you're possessing them of your ancestors, you're going to want to use the grave dirt from where that ancestor's buried, because that's going to contain their energy in it. Of course, and also use objects that person owned in their lifetime or whatever like that. You can even use object links and tag locks together. It really, once again, it depends on you and what's going to help you. Excuse me, y'all. And what's going to help you establish the right subconscious connection to that. Because once again, your subconscious mind is where your power is. Whereas the conscious mind directs the power. And you have to use both. When you're doing magic, you have to use both. I don't want to try to make it seem like one is above the other or anything like that. You know, when you're using magic, so the subconscious mind is where your power is, right? But if you have no control, then that power is useless. You know, you have to use both together to make it work. I want to do a shout out. Just add that into this video. I should have done that at the beginning, really, but I'm going to go ahead and do that now. I'm going to do a shout out to Spiritry. Spiritry Nima, y'all. Go subscribe to her if you're not subscribed to her yet. She has a lot of amazing videos. And she's just a really good person. So, she's actually one of the main reasons why I started my YouTube channel, was inspired by her. As well as the Facebook group that I have was inspired by her. So really just respect and a shout out to Spiritry Nima. If you're watching, thank you. And may all the spirits and the Loas and the gods and goddesses bless you. And thank you for doing what you do. And I hope that you continue. And another shout out to you also to my friend Raven. She is the co-administrator with me in my group, my Facebook group, which that is also, there's a link to that on my channel also. If you go there, go to my channel and go to the cover photo, there's 3 Facebook icons where one leads to me, to my profile, one leads to my Facebook page, and one leads to the Facebook group, Empowerment for Witches. And you can also find that in the Facebook search bar if you just type in Empowerment for Witches. So shout out to Raven for helping me run that and keep it going good. Shout out to you, thank you. And may the gods and goddesses bless you as well. And the spirits bless you as well. Okay. So I'm going to move on to another topic. Like I said, this video is going to be jumping around. Another topic I wanted to talk about is channeling. Because that's something that a lot of people want to know about as well. And there's just not a lot of good information out there about it that's relevant. And that's really helpful. They make it seem so, with all these things with magic, y'all, they make it seem so exoteric, like it's outside of you and separate from you. And that really makes it like not accessible to you. So, really what draws me to want to teach magic is because of that reason. I feel like people need to be empowered, and witches need to be empowered, y'all. And these books and stuff, they just don't do it. They don't do it correctly. They keep it to where you guys just won't know unless you already know. So you see, it's like a lot of that's why it's even called the occult, and the word occult means hidden. So that's why it's even called that, because it's hidden. It's a hidden thing. I mean, you can talk about it all day long with someone, but if they don't understand it on the deep levels, it's not really doing anything. They're not really going to learn anything from it. So you really have to be able to understand these things at the esoteric levels. See, exoteric means outside, outer, and esoteric means inner. So you have to understand all these things that you're reading in these books and all these different things that are available to you about witchcraft and magic. You have to be able to understand them at the esoteric levels. And that's why in one of my previous videos I was telling you all to really get into ascension and theurgy magic, because that's what that type of magic does, y'all. It teaches you the esoteric powers and understanding and gnosis and knowledge and wisdom that you will need in order to really become empowered. So about channeling. How does this work esoterically? So it really has to do with the subconscious mind. And it's different from spell work and from doing spells and other types of magic, because in those types of magic, you do need your conscious mind and your subconscious working together in unison to do that kind of magic effectively. However, when it comes to channeling, it is a type of possession. And I don't want that word to scare y'all, because there's a lot of, once again, parts of possession that are occulted and kept hidden to how they really work and what it really means. And there's a lot of bad misinformation about possession. What is possession really? It is allowing a spirit or god or goddess or other type of energy. It doesn't even have to be a conscious energy like a spirit or a god or goddess. It can just be a type of energy that's just there, that you allow to come into you and merge with. So possession is really like a mergence with something. Doesn't mean that you lose control and just become like a victim of the spirit or God. That can happen. Don't get me wrong. That can happen if you're invoking spirits that you don't need to be invoking. But there are spirits that will work with you where they do not try to take over complete control of your entire body. So, and misuse it. So you really need to know what you're doing if you're going to be doing channeling. Because like I said, channeling is a form of possession. So if you really want to get into this type of magic, y'all, you need to know what you're doing. So be established in your control over spiritual forces and spiritual energies before you ever invite them into you. So how does channeling work? It has to do with your subconscious mind. And your subconscious is where your emotions are and your creativity is, and your imagination and your visualization skills. And it also has to do a lot with your associations to different words and different things. So your subconscious and my subconscious are going to be different because they're going to have different associations and what's that other word? Correspondences. You're going to have different associations and correspondences to different things in your subconscious mind and in another person's. You're going to associate those different things to different things. So like just as a big example, the word magic and witchcraft. A lot of people have their own subconscious fears and negative associations to that are going to be in their subconscious mind. Whereas someone who embraces magic and witchcraft is going to have a lot of positive associations and correspondences in their subconscious to witchcraft and magic. And it's the same with everything that exists, y'all. Everything that exists, each person is going to have their own subconscious associations to it. So, and that's a major thing that you need to understand when it comes to channeling. And that also could explain also why there's negative possessions, where people will, in their subconscious, they have a bunch of negative attributes attached and corresponding to spirits or whatever. And then when they would merge with that spirit, it would be a negative experience of possession. Whereas when with another person who practices magic and who worships spirits and gods and goddesses, will have nothing but good and positive associations to those spirits. And when they merge with it, it's a completely positive experience. So it really has to do with that. So if you want to channel spirits and gods and goddesses, you need to make your subconscious associations a conscious process. So what that means is doing a lot of, I'm sorry, I have to readjust how I'm sitting out. This chair is getting uncomfortable. But you're going to want to readjust how you view things and how you emotionally feel about those spirits and about those gods and goddesses. You need to work on, and that's why before you get into invocation, you need to really practice evocation first, so that you're getting used to bringing that spiritual presence to you and around you, but yet without taking it into yourself. So it's like you're getting yourself comfortable to be around that spirit, so that you're not like not knowing what to expect when it's there, because you evoke it so many times that it's like establishing a relationship with a person. You go around that person so many times, and then you're not shy anymore, and you're just open. And it's the same with the spirits and the gods and goddesses. You evoke its presence to you so much that you just become completely comfortable with it. And then that way, when you do invoke it and you do channel it, there's not going to be any fears or anything like that lurking in your subconscious mind that are going to manifest as a bad experience. So you really need to work on that, and it's kind of like programming your subconscious mind to be ready for invocation and channeling and possession and the positive aspects. So you definitely need to work on that, guys. If you even want to get into this type of magic, definitely make sure that you're doing these things that I'm saying, which once again, you will not have found any of that information that I just said in any book. They won't be teaching you that, guys. So you really need to understand this and be very cautious about what books you're reading and what practices you just start doing without really understanding it, especially if you're a beginner. Okay, so more about now the practical ways of doing channeling. How do you do it? Okay, well, how you do it is after you've already established those things I've talked about, where you bring the spirit's presence and you become comfortable with it, and you reprogram your subconscious to attach only good to it. How then do you actually do the act of channeling? So now, once you get to this point, it's really about getting your conscious mind out of the way now, because it took your conscious mind to program the subconscious mind. But now to channel, you need to get the conscious mind out of the way so that you can do it. And, well, what does that mean? Okay. Your conscious mind has a habit of trying to control things, which, once again, with most magic, that's needed and important to do. However, when it comes to channeling, that is a bad habit that you need to overcome. Your conscious mind wants to judge things as they're happening based on what it thinks should be happening, or what is good or bad. Your conscious mind will try to judge that and analyze it constantly. And that's going to be a major thing that blocks you from being able to channel. In order to channel, you need to be able to shut down your judgment, shut down your analyzing, and your trying to control the experience. If you're doing those three things, channeling will not work for you. Or if it does, it will be very weak and like short-lived, and it just won't be for the best experience that you're trying to do when you're trying to channel. So if you really want it to work right, you need to be able to shut those three things down during the process of it. So once you get that out of the way, y'all, you probably have these ideas of what channeling should be, and that's part of your conscious mind. You need to get that out of the way, because if you think that channeling is going to only work in a certain way or manifest in a certain way, then that's going to end up blocking how the channeling really does work, because you're going to be focused on it happening only in this way. And when it starts to not go in that way, in that process, you're instantly going to block it, because you're going to judge it and analyze it with your conscious mind. It's going to block the whole channeling process. So you need to get those things out of the way. You need to be able to bypass your conscious mind. And that's also another important reason why you're going to do it in the way that I said, where you first use the conscious mind to program your subconscious to expect only good and to be in a close relationship with the spirit or deity you want to channel. And so in that way, it's like the conscious mind gets its say, and it will just like shut the fuck up when you're actually doing the channeling itself, because it's already been like, oh, I already told you what to expect. Talking to the subconscious mind, it's going to be like, oh, I already told you. I already controlled what you're going to be expecting, so it's already programmed in there. So it'll just leave you alone during the channeling, and your subconscious will just be able to come through. So see, your subconscious mind is attached to everything, whereas your conscious mind usually views everything from your body's perspective in like this independent way. Your subconscious mind, because it's where the emotion is, it's more focused in on relationships, which, you guys, if you think about relationships, what is that? That's you acknowledging your connection to other people and to other things. So it's like not really from your body's perspective. It's like a new or a different part of your mind that recognizes your oneness with other people and with other energies and gods and goddesses and stuff. That's all from the emotion, from the subconscious, where your relationships are mostly handled from. So once that's all programmed and everything, really all you have to do to channel is allow those associations and those correspondences that you have to that energy or to that god and goddess come to the surface, and kind of direct your actions and what you do and say during your magic or whatever you're channeling for. Usually I channel when I'm doing a spell or something and I really want a different god's energy or a different goddess's energy to be what empowers my spell to work, or the magic that I'm doing to work. I will channel that god or goddess, or I will channel an element like earth, air, fire, and water, or like darkness or light, or you can channel the sun, you can channel the moon's energy in its different phases, you can channel the earth, all these different things that you can channel that aren't necessarily gods and goddesses, but they're just energies or other beings that you can channel. And what it's going to do is it's going to call up every association that you have subconsciously with that being or with that energy or with that thing or god or goddess. You're going to allow that to take control of you. And that doesn't really mean that it's controlling you in the sense of without your permission, but it's more like it's controlling you in the sense of it's bringing you all these things up to the surface from your subconscious. All these different ideas and things will start to come up from that, and you just allow that to guide what you do. So your conscious mind is still there, but you're allowing it to be directed and guided by the subconscious mind, which is connected to all these other things. And so that's how channeling works. You can do this with gods and goddesses, with the different beings and the different planets and other energies and elements. You could do it with ancestors. You could do it with another living person. You can really channel anything, because your subconscious mind is going to have if you've done the work, like I said at the beginning of this topic, if you do the work where you program your subconscious to have the correct associations, then when you do, or when you try the channeling, it will work, y'all. And it's gonna give you guidance on what to do, and it may be completely something different from what you thought was what it was going to be, and that's okay. And you need to just trust that and do what it's guiding you to do, and it will work. Trust me. I mean, this is the type of magic that I do predominantly in my rituals and stuff like that, and it does work, y'all. And a lot of times it guides me to do spells in ways that I have never done spells in that way before, and I've never done magic in that way before. I never thought to do it in that way before, yet from my subconscious it rises up when I'm invoking different gods and goddesses or energies, and they will direct how to do the spell or how to do whatever you're doing. And if you follow those directions and do it how they say, it will work. So that's how channeling works, y'all. And then it just stops once you stop following its guidance, and you just kind of take over with your conscious mind again to just focus on other things and start doing other things, and that ends the channeling. Of course, you can mark that like officially or whatever with ritual, where you just dismiss the spirit and you dismiss the god and goddess and you like thank them and stuff, and that can ritually end the channeling. But I'm sorry, y'all, but at the level that I'm at, I don't consider it like that anymore. So forgive me if I kind of am talking from a more advanced state when I'm talking about this, of level of understanding it all, because to me everything is just one. So I just consider it all different parts of my mind. But I know to beginners and all that, you're going to need to view it as spirits and energies outside of you, because they are outside of you physically. But see, the differences between my level and probably a beginner's level of understanding is that I do not view myself as a body anymore, because that doesn't limit my perspective of being separate from things. I understand that I am a mind living in a body, and that my mind, which is what I am, is connected to everything in the oneness. Whereas, yes, my body is separate. So it's just like a different perspective that leads you to a different level of understanding, connection, and awareness to the oneness itself. So that's basically how channeling works. One more thing I wanted to talk about in this video, or I might do this as a separate video, because this video is already almost an hour long, and I don't want to make long ass videos. So I'll just keep this video with the spirit dolls and then the channeling, and just to keep it short or whatever. So I'm going to end this one now. I think that's all I needed to say about these things. If you have questions about that, about these topics, y'all, go ahead and ask me. Leave it in the comment section. Leave your questions if you have any, or if you just have a comment to say, go ahead and comment that, because I do like feedback. I do like to know what you all think about what I'm sharing and all this. So go ahead and leave those comments. Come out to Facebook if you really want to engage me in conversation. Come out to the Facebook group Empowerment for Witches, or come to and just send me a friend request to my profile. If you want to talk about specific things that you would, if you want to buy something from me, like a spirit doll or something that's specific to you and to what you want, go to the Etsy icon on my page and message me there, and we'll talk about it. Yeah, I'm going to end this video with that. So, hell to the witches, and blessed be y'all.